My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubois. And have you ever thought about turning $800,000 of other people's money into 12 units worth over $1 million in just 30 days? My guest today, Matt Poechman, did just that. Stay tuned as he reveals the keys to his rapid success in real estate investing. Welcome to the show, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of other people's money, especially for people who haven't raised capital. You didn't start raising capital right out the gate, did you? You must have used some of your own money at some point.
Yeah, that's right. So I got into real estate about 4 years ago and used my own money. I did a little burr on a duplex here in Ontario, and I was successful. I was cash flowing and was really happy with it. But then that was right towards the end of COVID, and I kind of took a pause because I had pretty much run out of my own money.
Yeah.
And I thought, now what? Now, how do I scale in real estate? If I don't have any money left, I don't have any capital, and now I've got 2 kids and life's expensive, right? So I really had to shift the way I saw real estate from a traditional mindset to really keying into the creative side of real estate, seller financing and vendor takebacks. And I thought, you know what, that really resonated with me. So I started investing in my, in my education. And I started taking courses online, and I took one here in Canada, the Investor Mel and Dave. And then I took Pace Morby's course down in the US, Subject to, which both phenomenal courses, both phenomenal communities. Can't say enough good things. So with that, I went forward and started taking action, started putting out offers last year, probably the first 6 to 9 months of the year. And I was just swinging and missing, just hard. And I had offers out. I had incorporated already. So I was putting out offers in Florida, Ontario, New Brunswick, and nothing was landing. And I had to really take a step back. And it wasn't until I had like a light bulb moment with another investor who introduced me to MICs, MICs. And before meeting him, I guess I missed it in all the courses. I thought, creative financing was go out, meet the sellers, find the distressed properties, and try to negotiate some creative financing, right? Try to get a vendor take back or seller finance, right? And that was really what I was under the impression of. But then I learned about what MICs actually do, and I was able to then go, okay, well, if I can get someone to fund 60% of any of my deals, and then all I have to do is raise the other 40% privately, well, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that all day. So once I did that, I was like, okay, here we go. Now I got some traction. And that's when I started really going after New Brunswick, because it's a really good market. A lot of really strong cash flow on exit deals. For a lot of people, they're looking at the market right now, and I did too. In this interest rate, it's hard to find anything that's cash flowing on entry. And it's scary, and it's really scary. And those fears and those doubts and all those limiting beliefs are things that I had to address. And actually it came to fruition in October of last year when I met actually the same guy, Simon Davis is his name, who became my mentor and my coach for mindset. And I took a program with him, and I'm still taking it right now. And it was all about mindset. An interesting thing is this whole mindset shift completely changed how I learned how to invest. It completely changed how I looked at investing how I looked at myself. I got rid of the limiting beliefs. I got rid of the fear, the doubt. Um, and then I was able to, for the first time ever, raise capital
Hmm.
to fund these deals, right? So, yeah, a lot going on. So yeah, I definitely used my own cash to get into my first deal. Probably the best decision I ever made was taking that leap of faith of listening to my first mentor, Dave Knight, taking his one-on-one program, which was don't rely on your pension. You know, I work in law enforcement for the last 17 years. I have a very strong pension,
Hmm.
but pensions, number one, they're not guaranteed. But number two, they're not a lot.
No,
Imagine thinking 35 years of working for 3, 4 grand a month
yeah,
at the
it
end.
usually ends up being like 60 or 70% of
Right.
what you couldn't survive on in the first place. So
Yeah. It's
it's
not a lot.
interesting what you say about the mindset because, uh, I've mentored a few people into real estate over the years, and always the difference factor was mindset. It wasn't that they had any
Yep.
different information. It was whether or not they believed they could or they couldn't. And that there's the old thing, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And people would
Absolutely.
make themselves right. I can't do this. You're right. I
Yep.
can do this. You're also right. But,
Yes.
I think I remember I had a mindset coach. Uh, her thing was your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. And so when you look at the mind like a garden like that, if you've ever done any sort of gardening, if you leave an idle garden, it will grow weeds and it'll grow nothing but weeds. It's not like there's going to be fruit in there or vegetables. If you don't actually like take and plant those seeds in your garden, nothing will grow. It'll just naturally fill with weeds. And you got to
Hmm.
stay on top of it too. Even if you plant great ideas in your mind, the weeds will naturally incur and you just have to be plucking them all day before they become a problem. If you've ever let weeds grow behind the garage, all of a sudden they're like 12 feet tall and you're like, man, I should have cut these at the beginning of the season with a weed whacker or just some Roundup. But now I'm in here with like a hazmat suit on because it's like it'll sting your skin if you get the juice on you. Like it can
Hmm.
really get out of hand if you let it get out of hand. So it's interesting what you said too about raising capital and the mindset around it, because a lot of people approach it with the thing they're like, I can't, why would it, oh yeah, that's a big one. Why would anyone invest with me? I'm just some guy. I'm just some girl. Well, because you're bringing opportunity, right? Their
Hmm.
head is down in what they're doing in their lives. They've got hockey practice with their 5 kids and they have all
Hmm.
this stuff, and they're not underwriting a multifamily in New Brunswick. They're on the 401 for 3 hours today. Like they're not. So we got to make sure that we bring that opportunity, and, we can profit on our work as well. But bringing opportunity is the mindset. Can you bring opportunity to the marketplace? And if you can, then you will be able to take a piece of the action. So, since you started raising capital, what kind of shift has that had on your business?
I mean, the answer right there is tectonic. The shift has been absolutely tectonic. There, look, 3 months ago, Bryce, I had never raised capital in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just 3 months ago. So 3 months, now imagine this, 3 months ago, I had one duplex
Yeah.
and I had dreams of maybe one property a year for the next 10 years. And, the same kind of, dreams we all have as new investors that, you don't want to go too big, but you want to dream big enough that you'll have financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And, and once I started learning the mindset, it was like completely like a totally new league. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking at everything like you said. I'm planting flowers now instead of weeds completely. So I went from having a little duplex to now I closed 3 deals last year in November in 1 month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can close 3 deals worth $1 million in a month, and that was 12 units, I can certainly close another 80 some units to hit 100 by the end of this year.
Yep.
Absolutely. And when I first started investing, I didn't even ever think I would ever hit 100 units. Like, to me, those were like the multi-millionaire
Yeah.
moguls.
Other people do that, not
Yeah,
me.
other
Right.
people do that. That's right. And man, learning about Bob Proctor and learning about the paradigm and the way that our subconscious is really programmed right from birth to think a certain way. And a lot of that is those limiting beliefs. Like, who are you? You don't own $1 million or 10 million or $100 million worth of real estate. Well, nobody ever does until they start, right?
Until they do.
Until they do, right? Until they believe they can, right? And that's a big part of it. So, uh, to answer your question, like, the shift for me has been monumental, and not
Mhm.
just in real estate. Like, in the last 3 months, I've become a completely different dad, different husband. Uh, like, they coined, I have a nickname at work. They call me Positive Peckman,
Mhm.
because nothing at work affects my mindset. Like, nothing affects my mood anymore, because
Mm.
now I'm learned to live from within. I'm vibrating on a totally different frequency. I'm doing 2 hour millionaire mornings every day. I'm doing gratitude meditations. Everything is a non-issue, because every
Mm.
day I'm hyper focused on my goal. Well, my goals, period, like plural. I have multiple goals.
Mhm.
And the only thing that serves me are things that project me closer toward my goal.
Mhm.
Um, so getting hyper focused and having that, man, there's so much involved with mindset. Like, you got to have belief. You got to have like belief in yourself, and you have to have good self image. You got to operate in gratitude, and you have to
Mhm.
operate in a way that you're now attracting that kind of abundance, because especially for raising capital, like, if I'm the guy who has doubt in himself, how am I ever going to convince anyone to give me any of their money? You
Yeah, it's
know?
interesting. My mentor, I remember he said to me early on with raising capital, he said, money is an idea plus confidence. And if you're confident, you can have the best idea, but if you're not confident yourself in your ability to execute it, the money's gonna know. There, anyone could have an idea. Ideas are especially with AI and stuff, ideas are a dime a dozen. It's the
Yeah.
execution of ideas with confidence that raises the money. And it's interesting you said our own self-image and things like that, because you have to focus on those frameworks, because if you don't, you're going to end up so many times, and super common, I shouldn't be making this much money. And so somewhere they sabotage it so that they return back to their 50K mindset.
Hmm.
So, you
Yep.
know, and the gratitude, I'm sure, is changing everything, because there's two ways things spiral up and things spiral down. And I used to, when I used to train people back in the day, I guess it's been maybe, well, I still train people from time to time, but when I was heavy into the training circuit, I went to my mentor and I said, because he's teaching me how to teach people, that's how I learned. And he's like, how do I get people back into that positive energy? And he's like, well, what do you normally do? I tell them everything's going to be okay, and then just keep going and keep working hard. And he said, Bryce, that'll never get them any higher than zero. That'll just bring them back to a neutral state. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, well, that's better than nothing. He's like, well, no, we need to reverse that negative spiral. Like, oh, my life's this, I'm never going to do it. And then it spirals out. To be able to climb back up and then actually get into positive, he's like, gratitude. That's the only way that you can reverse your negative spiral, is just because sometimes we forget. It's like, oh, I hate my car so much because it's making that noise. Go stand at the bus stop in minus
Yep.
40 and tell me about how
Yeah.
bad that noisy car is. Like, have some like perspective. And I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing that gratitude gives you, is that we get perspective of what we actually have, as opposed
Hmm.
to, there's those who are not content with what they have won't be content with what they want. And so
Agreed.
if you're not in that space, it's all mindset. The difference on the edge, like, yes, you need the information, but exponential growth in that. People are like, how did you do it? And that edge is usually, well, it's usually discipline, but well, the other side of it too is you could have all those tools, you could have all these trainers and things like that. But for you to be disciplined enough to wake up at 2 o'clock or whatever time and do 2 hours of something on a daily basis is the discipline that is going to have you, pulling things off. So, with everything you've accomplished in real estate so far, what's your biggest obstacle today?
Oh, I think my biggest obstacle probably would be finding capital.
Mm,
Um, I've to date I've raised just shy of $1 million in private money in under 3 months, which even just saying that out loud, I think of myself 3 months ago and I'd be like, holy, that's like what? The me 3 months ago would have never believed I'd be here today.
yeah.
But the majority of that money has been raised in the private groups that have come from the courses I've taken, right?
Mhm.
So for me, the biggest challenge now is kind of branching out and doing things like this and podcasts and trying to really network and get my name out there and to show people what I'm doing because I do, like you said, now I have the knowledge and I've executed a little bit, and I definitely have the confidence to go forward. So I'm just trying to get my story and my name, and moreover, like my passion out there. Um, a big part of what I do and a big part of what I learned in the mindset course is a lot of the reason I wasn't having success is because I was working for myself, and I was always in the mind of how can I find, how can I achieve, how can I?
Mm,
And when my mentor told me, like, just stop and go help someone else. And I was like, okay, okay, I'll just go help someone else. And in the last 3 months, I've probably done 300 Zooms with novice investors who are dealing with analysis paralysis and
mhm,
fear and
mhm,
they don't know how to underwrite and their family tells them it's risky and there's like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle when you're starting out and there's a million reasons not to start investing and it's really difficult and I was just, you know what, I'm going to give all my time, I'm going to give all my energy, all my support, all my experience, all my knowledge, my entire network of resources, I'm just going to give it all away. And then
mhm,
when I started doing that, the positivity in my life just started showing up. It started growing like organically. So I didn't have to go look for money because people would literally just show up and be like, "Hey, I saw this, or I heard you this, or I was talking to so and so, and they talked to you, and they were really impacted by what you said and how you helped them, and I really like what you're doing, and here I got a 200K I want to lend you," and I'm like, "Wow, and so I learned really is raising capital up to this point. I haven't even asked anyone for money.
mhm,
I've literally just gone about it in an organic way where I'm just trying to add value to anyone that I meet in life. And it can be in real estate and it can be in a small way. Whether it's, I see someone sitting outside of a store in the cold street, I don't even think anymore. I go into the nearest store, I grab a sandwich, I buy it, I bring them out, hand them a sandwich, and I go about my day. That's a different human from who I
mhm,
was 3 months ago, man. Like I used to walk past them and not even notice them,
mhm. Well, there's
and
that saying that goes, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll find what you need.
yeah, I absolutely believe that. I think the biggest lesson I learned is you need to give before you can receive.
Mhm,
And because you can take all the courses in the world and you can have the most knowledge and you can be the person who goes, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But if it's completely self-centered, you will only get so far. And even if you do have massive financial success, it's going to be completely hollow. And
mhm,
I'll tell you, like the success I've had with real estate doesn't even compare. And I say this all the time to people that ask me about the mindset. If I never did another real estate deal in my life, I would be so content because of
Mm-hmm.
what I gained from learning this mindset stuff is just it's a million times over in value what it's
Mm-hmm.
done for me as a human being on the inside to
Yeah,
learn to
across the
live in
board.
gratitude. Oh man, across the board in every aspect of my life. You know, it's just yeah. If I took away nothing else, I'm a very very happy person for that. But yeah, but luckily for me, it translates to every aspect of your life, including investing, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can take that because, in order for me to achieve those big goals, one of my goals is I will donate. And I used to say I want to or I hope to, but now I see it, dude. I do. It's called visioneering, and I sit and I can see my future, and I can see the suit I'm wearing. I can see how I know the shoes I have on. I can see the cologne. I can smell the cologne I'm wearing when I'm handing $1 million check to sick kids. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
it's happening, you know. But in order for me to achieve those big goals where I can really impact other people's lives, I need to have that financial success to do those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where real estate comes in because building wealth, man, the real estate, there is nothing like it. It is really once you learn like how to do it well. And listen, I didn't make this up. I didn't learn some key trick. I think that's the biggest message too for people is I'm just a dude. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised in rural Ontario on a beef farm. And I didn't come from money. I don't know wealthy people. Um, I'm just working hard and I'm learning from people in the industry who have success,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to surround myself with people who are up here. I don't want to be associating with people that are down here who are going to bring me down and keep me down. I want to associate
Mm-hmm.
with people who have, 100 doors, 500 doors, 1,000 doors. And I want to learn what they're doing so that I can achieve what they have achieved, right?
Yeah, the habits.
Absolutely. Yeah. And really, I mean, there's so many things that you learn along the way. And I think that's one of the things that attracted me to not just real estate but personal development is I really enjoy growth and I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy learning something. Uh, so I feel a really huge sense of accomplishment when I learn something, and I try to learn every day. And look, I wasn't the smartest kid. I failed grade 9 math. And now within some of the communities, I'm known as like the underwriting guy
Mm-hmm.
because I dedicate myself to it and I work and I work, 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 work. And then you have a little bit of results, work, 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 a little more. And man, you do that, you compound that over years. And you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You really can. And I never read growing up, but like there's a book behind me here, like U Squared. That's another book I just got. Um, I'm reading The Secret. There's a lot of like new books that we're learning, books that I've been given through the mindset group that are just expanding on you don't know what you don't know. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that saying, right? And when you grow every day, man, think of yourself in 10 years if you grow every day. Because I know a lot of people that are just content with being who they are since they've been in high school and they're never going to grow in any way. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm not okay with that. I need to be better, better, better in every single facet of my life every day, all the time, till forever, till the day I die.
I guess it's
Um,
that whole want and need thing. Because I remember I was mentoring this young kid. I think he's like 20 or 21. And he said to me, he says, if you want what you don't have, you have to do something you have never done. And I was like, do you write that down? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, write that down. And I'm sure someone else has said it, but it was interesting coming from him because he was learning and learning and learning. And he kind of came to that conclusion because he was trying all these new things. I was pushing him way outside of his comfort zone, just way outside. Like a borderline like nervous breakdown because I'm taking this like young introverted Filipino kid and I'm like, okay, now do cold calls to people who don't really want to talk to you. And like, oh, they hung up and they yell at you. Okay, do 10 more. Like
yeah,
putting them outside the comfort zone to really shape someone and, show them that. And that's the other thing too. And like you were saying, it's like, so many people that are XYZ that are just like, they're fine where they are.
Hmm.
Um, Young people, especially, like if you're 19, 20, even if you're like with the internet now, if you're competent, like awake and you're like 11 or 12, because everyone else is like consuming, not
Yep.
adding. And if you can just say, like, I'm gonna do the opposite and I'm
Hmm.
gonna start immediately train. Imagine you started like yourself today. Imagine you rewound the clock, you went back to age 12. You're like, read this book and read this book and spend 2 hours doing this. And like you add it on, and it's just like, you know, we have a certain, like you're saying, we have a certain amount of responsibility to like lead the way and pass that stuff down. I probably take 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls a day of people are like, Bryce, what should I do? And I'm like, these people aren't paying me to help them with that. They just want
Hmm.
to know how they can avoid the situation or how to maximize their positioning or whatever it might be. But we have a responsibility once we've gained, like you read something in a book. I feel like now it's like, okay, I have to, if someone's having that challenge, I have to let them know. I can't hold that back from them, like, oh, I'm going to keep that advantage. No, like give it
Hmm.
out. What are they going to do? There's more than enough abundance in this world for everyone to have something. It's just you have to
Yeah.
want it and you have to go at it. So when let's talk a little bit about your process here. When you're looking for deals, are you a find the deal person first and then
Hmm.
get the money, or do you prefer to have your capital kind of lined up and then go looking for deals?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sort of a fly by the seat of my pants, so to speak. I like the rush and the adrenaline, so I don't look for deals. I have yet to look for deals. My approach to investing is I pour all my time and energy into human connection.
Interesting.
So yeah, and from that, I build really authentic relationships with people.
Mm,
And what that ends up doing for me is I can find people who do that kind of stuff for me. Uh,
mm-hmm,
like like I've closed 3 deals in New Brunswick. I have 5 more under contract. So of all 8 of those deals, I didn't search for a single one. Didn't go on MLS. I didn't go LoopNet. Nothing. It was establishing a relationship with the best broker in the province, making it authentic, taking the time to fly out and spend the day with him, and then now, after I show him that, hey, I'm serious, I'm going to execute, he's like, okay, here's another one. Here's another one. How about this
mm-hmm.
one? How about this one? Right. So he sends me off market direct and I don't have to
Nice.
look for deals. Right. So because I have that deal flow, I can then go, okay, well, now I have the networks from these groups and I can go raise capital, right? I can show everyone, hey, I got an amazing deal. It's cash flow on exit. Here are the numbers. You want to see it? I'm 100% transparent. And let's talk. If you want to be a part of this and you want in on this opportunity, it's a great opportunity to make some, passive income as a lender
Mm-hmm,
because the numbers out there are amazing. Uh, Huge ARVs, huge cash flow on exit. Just
mm-hmm.
it's an excellent market. And Alberta, we're going to be doing acquisitions in Alberta very, very soon in the coming weeks. So we're going to be scaling the portfolio out there as well. But Alberta is the same thing, like massive ARVs, strong rental market, landlord friendly. There's a lot of growth out there, and there's a housing crisis. Like
Yeah,
people
everywhere pretty
people need
much.
homes, right? So you buy a duplex and you make it a triplex or a fourplex, you're gonna have people lined out the door,
Mm-hmm,
right? They
mm-hmm,
need to live places, right? So giving people that opportunity to live somewhere nice and a nice home to live in is a good thing too, right?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, so to answer your question, like how I raise capital is I have a deal sent to me by my agent, and I've done that through authentic relationships, and then I raise capital from there, and then I close the deal within like 4 to 6 weeks,
There you
just
go.
like that. Yeah, that's how it's done.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of the episode here because we could talk all day. But really, what I think we should do is, how are people supposed to connect with you? How do you suggest they get a hold of you? What should they do if they want to be part of your network, part of your investing team?
Absolutely. Yeah. Reach out to me, shoot me a DM. The best way to get a hold of me is on my Instagram, Matt P, MATTP _REI. And you can go on there and check out my entire story right from day one when I picked up my first duplex and I renovated it. I've got photos of that, the before and after, and you can follow just step by step of my growth. So, yeah, reach out on
Awesome.
Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by, Matt. And yeah, just keep staying positive, keep spreading the message. I'm a huge believer, and you got another supporter on your side here, Matt. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you, Bryce. Thank you, brother.
All right. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.